All right. So now I think I'm live.
It says live on it.
Oh, okay. Because before it wasn't saying live.
Uh-uh.
Maybe that's why Rooster thought it was having
Yeah.
technical difficulties.
He
I'm
might
learning all
try
this
that.
stuff as I go. You know,
Yeah. No big deal.
it's still not
Watch
showing up
live
on my
now.
other screen.
Yeah, it just showed that you went live on YouTube on it.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if anybody pops in now.
Yeah.
Or if they all gave up on you and went and found somebody else.
Oh, I wouldn't blame him for that. There we go. All right.
So then I guess we're starting all over. Hey, about that trailer thing.
So everybody that's might be joining in now, I finally figured out how to hit the live button. Um, Looks like we already got 3 now, so I'm sure start seeing some people here. But anyway, yeah, this video series that I want to do is kind of like just having a one-to-one conversation with some of my favorite YouTubers. Last week it kind of came to me impromptu. My buddy Chris Testa and I weren't doing anything on New Year's Eve, and we're going to talk anyway, so we thought we'd do a live. And I figured since I can't really schedule a time to do live streams, I would kind of do these where I have a conversation with somebody. That way, if people got a chance to watch later, it'd be a little bit more entertaining than just me sitting here trying to read comments. Hey, John Cope. So John Cope from Cope Racing Transmissions popped in.
Hey, I got one of his trannies sitting right here on the floor.
Yeah.
$5,000 worth of transmission.
Yeah. He was on I want to say Buck's live stream. Was it last night? Or no, it was Tony. And because we were talking about like the difference between like a gear vendor, and he recommends doing like if you already got one of the Mopar overdrive transmissions, you get a better ratio, and it's just as cheap if you're building them from scratch as to having a transmission and then spending. I guess the gear vendors are up to like $3,000 now.
Yeah, that's cruiser stuff though. I don't
Yeah,
do cruiser stuff.
yeah.
I just want it to hold together with 1,000 horsepower.
Well,
and not kick a planetary into my leg.
yeah, yeah. Cope saying $3,100 just for the gear vendors now. So
Yeah, that's crazy. But
I'd like to
people buy
do
them.
like
They want that overdrive.
Well, I'd like to do the 518, but we're already mocking up for a 727 and having to modify the cross member. I know, like with the 518, you have to do the adapter plate from big block to small block, so I think that would add some
Well,
length
don't
to
you
the
got to modify
transmission.
the? Don't you got to modify the transmission tunnel too for that?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, there's Rooster. Rooster made it back.
Mark's fault. He didn't click the live button.
Yeah, I'm an old guy. I don't know all about this technology stuff. I can imagine if I ever tried to do StreamYard, but I don't even have a computer, so that's why I do this route. It's kind of fun. But yeah, I know Cullen when he had that black '69 Trans Am, he put a 518 in it, and he had a local guy um, build him a converter and stuff for it. John said he did a 1,000 horsepower 518, and it's behind a Elephant right now.
Nice.
Yeah, that'd be a kick ass.
Well,
No,
I'm
I'd love
sure.
to have. I'd love
I'm
to
sure
have
you
one of
could.
his 518s because that way, if I upgraded, my engine.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd have to get work a few extra hours of overtime to afford to bring them.
It's going to be all I can
Like
do to
I,
use my spare transmission, I think, this time around.
like I said, I got a 727 here that costs $5,000.
Yeah.
So
Is that one of his John's full race versions?
it's got all his parts in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
So it's
when he
nice.
used to have them on his website, I would daydream and I would go through and I'd select which transmission. When I had that Cornet, that 70 Cornet, I actually had one of his street it was like a mid-level street strip transmissions.
No.
I bought it from a guy in St. Paul. So I was excited about using it, but I let that go with the Cornet because I basically traded that engine and transmission for the Jack Pine.
Yeah. Well, we're still testing our luck with a TCI transmission in that Aspen. So hey, it's made it about 200 runs with that 513 motor in it, and that we'll be dynoing that motor here shortly. But I'm sure that motor's 800 horse,
Yeah.
and it hasn't blown that tranny up yet. So
I'm not sure. I bought that transmission from Cullen that's in the Jack Pine right now, and I know it has like the Transgo trans brake, and I'm not sure which valve body and stuff it has in it, but I'm sure it doesn't have like the billets, sprag and all that stuff in it.
yeah, oh, what
Rooster
is the
picked up
story
another
behind your name?
67 Cornet.
Oh yeah, he just bought one from Washington. Cope just asked, "What is the story behind the name on your car?"
Okay, so there was his grandfather. Well, Tom and his brother Ted used to go to traffic court all the time when they were younger. They kept getting in trouble with the law, and their grandfather took uh, Tom's Cornet, and he said, "We're going to take this car, and you get to choose whether it's going to be a drag car or a dirt track car." So they chose a drag car. Well, his grandfather Hugh, he was up north. They call like guys that were kind of rough, around the edges and lived off the land and kind of out in the back, backwoods type guys. They call them Jack Pine savages instead of hillbillies. Well, I guess he was dating who wound up being their grandmother, and her father wasn't too impressed with him at first. So he asked her what she was doing hanging around with the Jack Pine Savage like him. So when he got the race car, he named it the Jack Pine Savage. So,
Gotcha.
so it's kind of a phrase for up north because the Jack Pine's kind of like the scraggly tree that grows anywhere, no matter how rough the weather is and everything, and how poor the soil is. So, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh,
And then, well, I'd have to tell people where I live. I was going to say it kind of worked out to my advantage.
sure.
Everyone thinks I named it based on where I live, but I
Well,
didn't
it
name
came.
the car.
They did. You just bought
Mm,
the car with a name on it.
yeah.
Yeah, Mark. Rooster was talking. He bought that '67 Coronet. He got that from Washington.
Oh, yeah. Which one's
So
that?
he just got. He hasn't got it yet. He bought it. It's still
Mm,
coming. So
yeah. So John Cope, I've been in touch with Tom, the guy that owned the car. I got it from his son, and he's really glad that the car's out being raced again. And we talked about doing like a video where we kind of go through the history of the car and then have the family members there. He's got a nephew, Tyler, his brother Ted's son, who still races pretty actively here. And right after No Name Nationals, they said they were going to Grove Creek, and they invited me to go racing with them, but I was pretty much broke by then. So I didn't
that.
get a chance to go race with him. But this year, I was just talking to Jeff when I didn't realize that we weren't live. But our big plan is to do a lot more racing this year. Hey, Raker.
And Cope, that's one step below hillbilly because we don't have hound dogs up here. They'd freeze.
Mm. But yeah, I really like Rock Falls. I think that was my favorite track that I've been to of all the tracks that I've been to, which is what, 4?
Yeah, but they made it pretty nice out there now. So
Yeah. But yeah, I
I don't know.
definitely want to.
I still like the little tracks. The Grove, Grove and stuff is just the little backyard stuff is I think a little better. I guess just
Yeah.
used to racing them.
Well, it's nice that, because at one time I was at Brainerd, that was for a private event, and it was hard to get a chance to make runs because there were a lot of cars. And I heard it's even worse, otherwise, like on regular test and tune and
All
race
right.
days.
I don't race Brainerd. If I go up there, it's like the problem is you get maybe two test runs in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like, I mean, you just wait. I think a lot of people go up there just for the nostalgia of its Brainerd.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd rather. There's so many other tracks to go to. I'd just rather go to them.
Mm. King Eric's in here. Hey, thanks for stopping in and saying, hey, Eric. Smoke Wrench Garage is here. Smoke Wrench Garage was going to go to No Name Nationals last year. I hope he tries this year because he's got a dart sport that he bracket races.
Yeah.
Seems like he does pretty good. He's won some track championships and stuff.
So at some point here, do you think we should give him a tour of the car and my dragster?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they would love that.
Especially the car I'm doing now. I mean, I got a video on it, but I really haven't got very far. I got the front end done on it, and we went with a QA1 stuff
Yeah.
in it. So
I saw we got up to 10 people and then it dropped right back down to 7. So 3 people.
Well, they either seen your mug or mine. It was one of the two. Probably mine.
It's my charisma.
It's your life.
I'm so charismatic, But no,
I
I think
it's probably mine.
A little bit here we'll let you do that, do like a walk around and stuff. But so earlier today, we were working on trying to mock up the 63, and I called Tom Hoffman, and he had an old cross member that was already half cut up. So I went over there to pick that up, and he was working on another 63 race car. He had the floors all out of it, and he was going to re-mini tub it. It used to be a race car. The body looked really nice. The quarter panels and the roof, it used to be white. But yeah, he had from the rear floor pans all the way back through the trunk pans, all taken off. So you saw the subframe connectors and the inside of the frame rails. Brought back memories when we were working on the 63. But he goes to MOPARJEFF, and that's a little bit after No Name Nationals. And I'd really like to go to that with the Jack Pine. So it'd be a question of where do I go? It's like I don't think I can afford to go to both that close neck to neck. So
Well, like I said to you, you got to keep some cash aside because they got that race up in Canada that we're going to go to this year or this
okay.
summer.
Is that in September? Or is that
no? It's kind of like the races we got around here for like our 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of their big races up there, and it's a 4-day event. But yeah. I mean, they pay it's like $5-6 grand to win. I think one of the races is $10 grand to win.
Yeah.
So, and the guy that bought my my old dragster, they race up there a lot. So, the old man goes up there every year, but we just haven't brought a car up there. So we're he's 80 years old, so I think it's time we actually bring a car up and race it. So we're going to do it this summer.
Yeah. The dragster or the duster?
Well, hopefully the dragster, but I still got to get them turbos on it, finish up the headers and stuff. Otherwise, I mean, if I don't get a chance to get them done, I'm just going to put the car back NA. I mean, the car still runs 680s in the quarter NA. So, I mean.
Yeah. That's what I run in the 8th.
Well, yeah. So it's just kind of one of them things. It's getting time to do it with all these other cars. And now I got a couple other people that want me to do their car too. So I'm kind of push them off till summertime.
What kind of cars?
I got one guy that's got a duster that needs trunk extensions and a trunk floor put in it. And he wants, obviously, he's going that far. He wants to mini tub it. So yeah. I'm like, whatever. I mean, I've done enough.
And if you're going to mini tub it, you got to move the springs inboard.
Well, he doesn't want that yet. He just asked for the floor and a mini tub for now. So, I mean, obviously, you got to talk him into it, if you're going to move that.
I mean, it still defeats the purpose because you can't put a
wider. Not really. You could still you can get wider tires in there, even though they're not moved in. The dusters that
won't the tire rub on the leaf springs?
Well, you don't move them that far. You don't put that big a tire, but you can still get a bigger tire up in the wheel well with the mini tub in it.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't know what he's actually going for until we sit down and discuss it. But obviously, I would try to talk him into, you're that far into it, you might as well, relocate the springs too.
That's how I tricked you, wasn't it?
Yeah, to do your floor. Yeah. Hey, let's mini tub it.
Yeah, I was just, "Do you mind just mini tubbing my car and maybe moving the springs and board?" And then it's like, "Oh, yeah, by the way, the car doesn't have any floors in it."
Yeah. Well, we didn't know that until we started peeling all the fiberglass off the floors.
Tom told me. He told me up
Yeah.
front. He's like, "Dude, here's the trunk pan, here's the front floor pans, and the rear floor
Well,
pan."
that's the sad part is I should have knew it as soon as you told me you had a trunk pan for it. I'm like,
Yeah.
but it looked so good.
It did.
They had it all
The
fiberglassed in.
fiberglass, the guy did great. It looked like it was
Yeah,
from his
well,
factory.
probably a Corvette enthusiast.
Hey, Tim, 72 Demons here. He's out. He finished dinner.
Gotta love the 72 Demons. I used to own one.
So Rooster said the 67 Cornet 500's an original with a 383, and it's almost rust free. Came out of Canada, rust free. Someone must have loved it and never took it out.
Or it just was made in Canada and came down. But
Oh, Canadian.
Washington, I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
they're right on the border there. Yeah.
they still rust anyways up there.
Mm.
Like getting cars from California, you think they're gonna be nice and clean, and they got pinholes all the way through the floors because of the salt water.
Well, the 63 was a California car.
I know. Just found that out. It rusted from the inside out instead of the outside in.
Yeah.
So,
Just Mopar Joe.
oh no.
Yeah.
When
Joe
you gonna
dropped an
dyno that, Joe? When you
Joe
gonna
dropped it.
dyno that motor?
That's that 441, right?
Yes.
Joe dropped an Easter egg about a non-purple Barracuda possibly going to No Name Nationals, and I think there's a silver gray Duster that should race his silver Barracuda.
That would mean I would have to go,
That's what I'm
or
thinking.
or I'd have to. The problem is I mean, I guess I could put you in the car and test you all summer and get you used to going really fast.
Dude, that would be exciting. I'm willing to start with the Blue Duster because it's already faster than my car, and then see how I do with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready for like a 950 horsepower alcohol car yet, but
Yeah. They're fun. They pull big wheelies.
Yeah, I've never done a wheelie, so yeah,
Someday, maybe that 63 will pick the front end up.
yeah. So that day we found out that if you use the factory cross member on the 63, the engine's really far forward. I kind of put a picture out in our chat group. I can fit two fists between the firewall and the China wall of the rear China wall of the 440 with the factory location of the transmission mount. So Jeff's been spending. He's in his garage because he was making that new transmission mount for me, so we can move the engine back. So that should help the car racing. Moving the engine as far back as we possibly can with the motor plate.
Yeah, the nice thing is I got a 62 Belvedere sitting there that we can go look at to, see where the engine's actually sat. So, yeah, the factory transmission mount puts the motor 2.5 inches too far forward.
Yeah.
So I'm just moving it back 2.5 inches. So, and it looks good where it sits. The blower fits nice.
Mm.
So we'll just kind of do it that way, I guess, because
And then
doesn't seem like anybody makes.
I was gonna send you a picture too. I have a picture of a red early B body with a blower engine where the blower is pointing up, like you said,
Yeah.
because they didn't level the engine as much. So
Well, I measured that pan, by the way.
yeah.
The back of that pan is 2 inches, and the Millodon one is about the same.
Oof.
So it's going to have a tidge of brake in it. I mean, it ain't going to be as low as I wanted it, but
Okay.
kind of, I don't know. I'll mess with it a little more, but that 1.5 inches is going to be, I think, tough to get to without modifying a pan a little bit. And I don't want to get into modifying a pan too.
Yeah.
So, well, it'll be better than the one we had because the one we had on there was 2.5 inches and it was hitting the steering. So,
Joe was saying he talked to his dyno guy 2 days ago, and he's getting headers made so that Joe can bring more big block Mopars in. So
that's always nice. My dyno guy, I'm going to do a dyno video on the kids 513. And my dyno guy's got headers, but I wanted dynoed with the TTIs on it. So, I mean, he's like, well, I'll just bring them in. We'll see if they work around his dyno. Because the problem with the dynos are, especially with the TTIs, is they tip in, which Joe would know.
Yeah.
They tip into the back, and they get close to the transmissions. Well, a dyno's wider back there, so we don't know if they're going to fit.
Yeah.
But I guess he's got some big tube headers, or I think they're 2 1/8. So
R&R's got those sensors in each one of the header downpipe.
Well, yeah,
so that they can.
Yep. And that's what he wants to do too. So, I mean, I just like to see, I just let him dyno the thing out, the way it is, get it set perfect.
And then do a final run with your header.
Yeah, okay. Swap the header over and just see if it changes much with the TTIs on it.
Yeah.
So there's a few things we're going to do with that motor anyways. I mean, that motor's got a gear drive in it, a Milodon gear drive. So, hey, if anybody out there wants a good Milodon gear drive, hit me up because we're selling it. So I'm going to just put a timing chain in it and go that way. But
I wonder what a blower motor would sound like with a gear drive.
I'll just whine more.
Yeah.
But that's that one Milodon sells for like $900. So I mean, it's a bendy one. But I just don't see any sense in having it. My engine builder says the same thing. Get rid of that goddamn thing. So we're gonna take that out, and I just got a pretty expensive chain to put in it instead. So.
Yeah. That's a low deck, right?
Yeah, that's 513 B block.
Yeah.
Man, I need to go in and get my glasses. I can barely read these guys' stuff. I got to move back to read them.
Yeah. Lee from NSB Custom North or South is here. He's getting ready to go to bed. Yeah, I figure this Sunday night, a lot of people got to work in the morning and stuff. So thanks for popping in and saying hey.
And yeah, Joe, sway bar needs to go on all drag cars. They don't do you any good. But I mean, if he's going to drive the thing on the street too, that's kind of a different scenario. But yeah, it'll wreck your traction. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Ready to turn it. Just want to. NSB Customs. Yeah, you too. I hope you have a good week too. It's supposed to snow up here, so that's money falling from the sky tomorrow. So tomorrow night.
Yeah. Good night, John. Thanks for popping in. John Cope's turning in too. But
yep. See you next time. Yeah, we started this too late, but I had to get some stuff done on that cross member.
Lee from NSB is saying, "What snow?"
Wow. They got 2 to 3 inches in the forecast, so hopefully, I mean, I own a towing company and plow, so trust me, I need the snow to fall.
Yeah. I don't want it to fall because then I gotta dust off my snowblower and blow out the driveway.
Hey, Dizzy, how's it going?
Smoke Wrench is going to bed too. Mater's Workshop, hello. Yeah. So this year we should have a few cars going to the track, so that should keep us pretty busy.
Well, I'm
just
like
our group to be you, me, and Tyler, for sure.
Well, I'm hoping, like I said, we can get them guys down in Iowa to go to the concrete track one of the days, and we can just meet up with them. That'll be content for everybody's videos.
So that's like the Bad Tree guys and Jerry Racing. That track's 4 hours from us, so we'd like to get down there and run with them and try that track out. I've only been down there the one time, but I didn't have a car then. So
I've raced down there many times, but I haven't been there in 4 or 5 years now. So,
but definitely be fun to go race with those guys.
Plus, like I said, I'd like to try Humboldt again too. Them tracks built out in a cornfield out in the middle of nowhere are kind of fun.
Yeah, Joe's like, hit the like button if you want to see him finally race me in 24. So I was giving Joe a hard time. No, I know he's got a target on his back when he goes there, so everybody wants to race him. You know, he's the big guy and stuff. So I like to talk smack, but it's just fun being at the same track, Joe. If we get a chance to race, that'd be awesome. But before I went live here, I don't know, maybe it was when we did go live here, I was talking about I got to try to make a decision because I'd really like to take the Jack Pine to MOPARJEFF604, and then so it's like I don't know if I could swing two big trips, you know, because they're both about Jeffers and that track in Kentucky kind of are the same distance for me. So I think those nostalgic guys run indexes because Tom with his red car runs the 10.5 index, which means that he's usually faster than 10.5, you know. So there's probably like an 11.0 index, I would think. What do you think?
What's that?
Like a nostalgic super stock, maybe they would have like a
Most of
11
them are
second.
on an, if I remember right, they're mostly on an index deal. So.
Yeah. So they probably have like an 11.0 index. Because that would be where the Jack Pine would probably hang because it's a 10.8 car. So I'd probably want to run in the 11.0 index.
Well, the trick flows haven't been on dyno yet. Oh,
But are the trick flows, they're going on the 440 though, right? That's not your engine that's getting the trick flows, is it, Joe? I'm a huge fan of the trick flows. I know you like the Indy Big Easies.
I like them Big Easies that kids got on that the ones that are on in that Aspen. I mean, it makes some horsepower, that's for sure. I mean, me personally, I like the 440-1, so that's what I got on my alcohol motor, and that thing makes they were flowed at 400. They were like 440 something was what they
Yeah.
flow. So I mean,
But they require
but they're an expensive head though.
They require an offset rocker too, though,
Oh,
don't they?
absolutely. I mean, that's got
The Big
Justin stuff
Easies,
in it.
the Big Easies don't, do they? The
Yeah,
Big Easies,
they got an offset
they're
rocker too.
offset too.
You got
That's
if you get the little Easies, they used standard.
Yeah. He said the trick flows are for his customer 440, and those are the 240s, right, Joe? I know Gary kind of pocket ported my Edelbrocks and went through them and all new hardware and went through the valve guides and everything. And he's going to port match that blower intake. So it'll be a little bit better than just factory Edelbrocks.
It's a street car anyways.
Yeah. Because the Trick Flow 270s have the max wedge intake ports. So you'd have to get a special intake for that. You'd have to weld onto that manifold just to be able to open it up enough for the max wedge intake.
Well, you don't need that anyways. I mean, you're just bolting them on a smaller head, so
yeah.
That's the other thing with the Big Easies is they're a max wedge.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I said it. I would like a set of SRs again. I used to have a set of SR heads. Some things are awesome.
Yeah.
But they don't. They replaced them with the little Easy.
Yeah.
So why buy the little Easy when you can buy the Big Easy head?
Yeah. Hey, John Wilburn. Yeah. Gary, the reason when I called him, he knew he was going to get.
John.
The reason he knew he was going to get 700 horsepower out of my 512 was because he'd already done it with the SR heads on a 512. So the first, the grandfather engine to the one that he built for me was the 512 that he built for that Duster that he has. That engine dynoed at like 705 horsepower, I think, and he was going to run that in that Duster. But he wound up selling that engine out of it for like 15 grand, I think. So,
hey,
so that's
Joe,
why the Duster's for sale.
Joe, my alcohol motors, it's a 540 with them 440-1s on it, and I got a $5,000 Cope transmission sitting here for it. So it's kind of funny that everybody's putting them trannies in there, but
Mm.
I mean, it holds it. So,
And it was cool John Cope was actually in here, so I
yeah.
really appreciate that. I'd love to eventually, like I said, build one of his transmissions and stuff. Not me personally, obviously.
I, trust me, I have never spent that much on a transmission, but I
Yeah,
mean, I just worry about it. Like the kids' car, the Aspen,
yeah,
that one's got that 513 in it, and that's one of TTI's transmissions with the trans brake in it. Now, don't get
yeah,
me wrong, it's probably got 250 runs on the thing, no problem.
yeah,
But I always worry about that, shit coming through the floorboard at you and taking an ankle out.
yeah.
So, I mean, even with the shields and everything on there, I mean, I've still seen them break shit. So,
Joe said his brother has the 440-1 Indy heads on a Mega Block, and
yeah,
it's a
that's
526.
isn't that the one he did the headers on or something?
I think so. I think that's the car that I was going to say. There was an Easter egg in one of the live streams where that car might make an appearance, maybe at the No Name Nationals. I don't know if I'm knowing Joe. He'd probably paint it purple and then pretend it's his car because he always likes to do something sneaky every year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, um, JWs are good. I mean, my dragster, I got a BTE in my dragster, the
Yeah,
Glide, and I mean that thing holds. I mean that motor's 1,200 plus horse. So, but the transmissions, I haven't had any problem with the 727s. Now, have I seen them explode at the racetrack on the starting line? Absolutely, but
mhm,
I've never done one.
yeah,
I mean, I've raced for years and had 9-second cars, no
mm,
problem on the trans brake. You just don't stand on it. I mean, a lot of them guys,
yeah,
I don't understand. Maybe it's just me, but at the starting line, why would you stand on the trans brake immediately and sit on it for a minute and a half? I mean, that's crazy.
yeah,
I never punch mine to the floor until, well, and don't get me wrong. I mean, we do a lot of box racing, so I let go of the button on the top bulb with the box and then stand on it. So
yeah.
you're only on it for what half second.
Mm,
So I mean, it does. One of my buddies has got a Camaro that he does that all the time. I mean, that thing seems like it's just at $5,000 on the trans brake on the starting line for like a 5 minutes. It's crazy. And them are the guys that are usually hammering the trannies out.
yeah. John Wilburn said if I foot the parts bill, they'll build the transmission for me. So
Yeah.
yeah, the $795 billet drum.
Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you.
I'm not at that power range yet. I think I'm pretty safe with the jack pine the way it is, and then
Well, you never know.
version
You keep it up. We'll have to put a little supercharger on it or something, to beat on
version
Joe.
version 1.0 of the Belvedere. You know, I won't need that, but I still like the idea of building the 540, short block for the future. But I got to get this engine done first, So
Well, let's get this car done first.
yeah,
I'm sick of having all these projects sitting around. None of them are all the way done yet.
yeah, yeah.
It's nice when they get done, but then it seems like you find more stuff you want to do to them after they're done.
Well, and then like you said, it's all a matter of hot rodding and that. But it's like part of it is we waited to get the proper 62 cross member, and then I ordered the specific
Oh,
polyurethane mount from Mancini that was supposed to especially adapt the 62 to the modern transmission, and that was wrong.
yeah,
So by the time I bought the new cross member, bought that poly mount, that was like $250, and we're not using any of them.
yeah. So,
You're making
and
one
it,
from
and it
scratch.
and it, and it wasted 2 weeks. Waiting for parts.
So if you guys are going to be at Mopars in the Park in the swap meet area, I'm going to have some nice parts.
Yeah, somebody needs a cross member for a 62. We got a really nice one.
Uh, Well, that's the cool thing is like being friends with Tom and then that guy Denny. You know, both those guys are older guys into the early B bodies. I'm sure they'll be able to find somebody who would like to have that cross member. I just don't like selling anything, especially like eBay type stuff. You know, where you got to be pressured. I feel bad because I offered that old super stock Mopar scoop to Brad at Poor Boy's Garage, and he wound up getting one though. One of the newer ones that they make. Mine's cracked really bad on the sides anyway. So I was working and trying to figure out how to find a box big enough to ship it and how to ship it without it cracking in half. And by the time I did all that, he wound up getting a scoop. But that's just how bad I'm about trying to pack stuff up and ship it, you know. So I'm
Hey,
better off at
Mark,
trying to sell stuff at swap meets.
answer some questions. I'll be right back.
All right. But yeah, John, I would take you up on that. When John Cope was in here, I told him I'd love to have like a 518 built for my Belvedere because ultimately that car would be more of like a drag and drive car, and it'd be really nice to have the 518 with the overdrive. But I know John sells the adapter for the big block to the small block because the 518 is for a small block, and we're already custom making a transmission cross member so that we can move the engine of the Belvedere back about 2 to 3 inches, get it closer to the firewall. And I just don't know, like the opening of the bell housing of the transmission, how that would fit up against my firewall. We've already put all the sound deadener stuff on the firewall, so modifying it now would suck. Otherwise, I'd be like, yeah, we would just get it fit in there and make the firewall fit around it. But now it's got all that like tar stuff on there that you'd have to cut through. So probably going to just wind up running with the 727, but still, yeah, I definitely would like to. If I do the 540, I definitely want to do a Cope transmission for that.
Well, you never know. I might
As
blow
it
my.
stands now, I'm just going to use the. I'm going to take. There's a guy up here, Chuck Lofgren. I'm going to take my 727 that came out of the Jack Pine that has a reverse manual valve body. I'll take it up to him, and he uses John Cope parts. So
Sorry, I needed a Coke.
yeah, actually, I've got a Coke. Surprisingly,
Not coffee? What the hell's wrong with you?
Joe's gonna head out too. He's gonna turn in, go to bed.
Later, Joe. I'm sure I'll talk to you at some point.
Yeah, but yeah, Joe, we'll get together and race, even if it's sometime just down in Arkansas there. Oh, I was going to mention to him, I've already got those 750 carbs for the blower, but I still like the idea of doing E85, and he's got that deal through that carb place, and so once we get it dynoed on the gas carbs, I would be able to send him some specs so that that place could kind of maybe spec out some E85 carbs for me.
Run it on alcohol.
Well, John, last time I know, like in 2023, I talked to John Cope about like building me a transmission, but that's when he had taken them off of his site. I don't know if it was because of like the pandemic. He just didn't have enough guys to actually build the transmissions. So, and then I went to his site after he was on Tony's Hot Rod Garage's live stream, and he still doesn't have like listed transmissions like he used to. So I didn't know he was actually still building transmissions. Because yeah, if I could get one from the source, but but
Well,
I'm
the
not
guy that
I'm not to that power level yet. But if I do the 540, I definitely need to be looking into something like that.
yeah, that's my block that you're going to use.
Yeah. Well, I'd be glad to put a Cope Racing transmission on any of my cars anytime. Because that's one thing I only put stickers of stuff that's on my cars. So, but I know when I talked to John in 2023, he mentioned that he thinks he knows who I'm talking about when I mentioned John Lofgren up here in Chuck Lofgren up here in Minnesota. So I think he's done business with him. And I know Chuck's the transmission guru that Kudadan and all those guys use. Kudadan's another guy, Jeff, that might be able to start hitting the tracks with us. He finally got a guy to put the swing bar in his 70 Barracuda race car.
Yeah, I'd have put it in there. I'd have charged some money to put it in. You're talking about the swing bar or the swing out bar for
Yeah,
the
he just had the regular roll bar in it, and he said now that he's older, he wanted to make it a swing bar, so he switched it over.
Well, yeah, it's handicap accessible.
Mater's Workshop wants to know, Jeff, if you know where any 70 to 71 A bodies are.
Yeah, I got a garage full of them.
For sale.
Which one do you want?
What do you want to?
Like I tell everybody,
Mater, what do you want to spend?
Like I tell everybody, everything is for sale, even the wife. The only thing I won't sell is my kids, but I sure will rent them to you.
Mater, if you want a roller, if you go in my videos, there's an old video called "Something Is Afoot," and I do a walk around video of a Duster drag car that was never had any rust in it ever. It's all steel except for the fiberglass hood. It's got a roll bar that was put in that's kind of hidden so that you won't ever see it, and it's been mini tubbed, and it's got a Dana rear end in it, and it's got Willwood disc brakes all the way around and weld-wheel drag lights. So it's the perfect roller. But I don't know how much, if you want like a project car or street car. Oh, he's just looking for parts for a 71 Duster. That's right up Jeff's alley.
Well, I got trailers full of them. What do you need?
So yeah, Mater, you need to try to get a hold of Jeff here. I was trying to think. So when I'm doing these live streams, I kind of wonder like, so I don't try to plug things, but I do have a YouTube or a Facebook page called Bigfoots and Mopars. And if you go there, you can message me. And then when you message me there, I could, get you in contact with Jeff, and you could put together a list of stuff you're looking for. And, if it's, Jeff's got lots of parts. So
yeah, we not only do the cars, but I mean, I have probably, I think I got 3 parts cars, and then I got a trailer full of parts, all A-body stuff.
Well, so, Mater, if you've got a 69 Valiant grill, Jeff will trade you a shark tooth for it.
Absolutely. Anybody got a 69 Valiant grill, let me know, because I'm looking for one. I'm going to take the shark tooth out of the blue car and put a Valiant grill in there like I did with the kids' car.
Yeah. But yeah, Mater, seriously, every year at Mopars in the Park, Jeff, he's got a section, and it's all A-body parts and like drag parts and stuff. So I don't know where you're located, but you probably might not be able to make that show, but that just shows you how much inventory and stuff he has. So
yeah, Rooster, you got one for sale, all right. The one you just bought from me.
Chris Testa Speed Shop in the house. See, Chris, my face is all high def. He was on a live stream Saturday night, was it, or Friday night with Marty, and it was pretty blurry. So I said that they did it on purpose because Chris was on there.
Hang on a second, Mark. It's a 71 Duster you need to grill, side markers, and taillights for. Is that what you have, or 72? 71.
He's got 71.
Okay, I have a grill. I got side markers, and I got painted side markers. I got a shit ton of them because the kid wanted chrome ones on his. So I got a ton of the front and rear marker lights, and then tail lights. I think.
I think I don't know if it's both of us or just you that's breaking up. Did anyone else notice that in the comments? But anyway, Mater, Jeff was saying that he's got the 71 grill and the marker lights. Yeah, Mater said you froze, Jeff. Your picture's frozen, but I heard your voice. Yeah. And you were gonna do a walk around too, so for those of you guys who came in here, if Jeff's video would hold up, maybe we could do a uh your voice is coming across, but your picture's frozen. Yeah, it's coming back now. Yeah. Just take out the insulation. Yeah. Yeah.
Just let me know the shit.
Right. It's kind of choppy, but it'll focus if you just point and hold. I saw the duster there, so what if you open the front door? The garage door? Yeah. Mater.
For 72 or 71.
Mhm.
And I do have the end pieces and marker lights and everything for it. Is it still choppy?
No, that showed up.
Okay. So let me see if I can figure out how to
I don't know
flip
if
this.
Mater's still in here, if he had a chance to see it.
Is he still in there or no?
He hasn't texted anything, but he was in there not too long ago.
Here's the
That's showing up
grill.
pretty good.
And obviously I have, the end pieces for it. Here's a shifter Mark wants.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, if
Mater
you guys
said he's
want.
here.
Okay. Well, like I said, I mean, there's the grill. I mean,
Mhm.
it's all right. It's got all the pieces in it, but I mean, it's got a typical duster grill. It has a few cracks here and there.
Hey,
Like
Mater.
it.
Mater, are you signed up for No Name Nationals? If you are, you could get a hold of John Wilburn, and then it's okay. Tell him it's okay. He might still be in here, but it'd be okay for you to get my phone number from John Wilburn, and then I could get you in touch with Jeff.
So, but I don't know what else you want to see.
Yeah,
That's all the QA1 stuff that I did to this car so far.
yeah.
I don't know.
Show him
But
the
anyway,
Pentastar.
oh, the back
Yeah, I always thought that was pretty cool in that car.
in the trunk.
Yeah,
There's one in the back piece that goes up the back too, but that's
from
sitting
the
on.
inside. Yeah,
But yeah,
that's a
it's
cool
right here,
car.
right there.
Mm.
I don't
That
know.
took some. That took some doing to do that.
Oh,
That.
somebody bead rolled the crap out of it.
Yeah, and here we go.
I mean,
It's where you get the 604 and MOPARJEFF604.
that's an Indy aluminum block, 604 cubic inch. It's in my dragster, obviously. It's gonna have twin 88s on it when I get finished with it.
Yeah.
So, and then I don't know. I could probably show this thing too. That's the motor for the Duster. That's a 540 injected alcohol motor with 440-1s on it.
But that single plane's only on there to lift the engine. It's a tunnel ram, right?
Yep, tunnel ram with 2 toilets on it.
Yeah.
So, all right, flip me back here.
Yeah, it's always fun going over to Jeff's and seeing all the toys. I was
There's a
joking.
lot.
I was joking like if Gary didn't get my engine done, maybe have to borrow the alcohol engine.
Well, I told you we could have put that in the jack pine, but I think it would have hurt the car.
Yeah, it would have twisted that thing in half.
So, but you guys have to let me know if I chop up again because It's getting
Yeah.
cold in here, so I close the door again.
Yeah. You're doing good right now. I don't know what happened, but yeah, that walk around went pretty good. So
Anybody, most likely I have
mm,
them. It just depends on what level of niceness you
yeah.
want. I mean, I got most of the stuff that I have is all driver quality stuff. I mean, obviously the super nice stuff we've already used on the cars.
Mm,
So, but I mean, like that grill's, well, I mean, you can use it no problem. It's got a couple little cracks here and there, but all the fins are there. Or,
mm,
all the bars are there.
yeah.
And trust me, I love trading, especially for a '69 Valiant grill.
Mhm. So yeah, Mater, anytime you need A body parts, that would definitely be someone to check out. And like I said, you can either get hold of me through probably John Wilburn or Bigfoots and Mopars on Facebook, and just message me with whatever you like, a wish list or something. Because Jeff's got connections. That's the cool thing about like when I met him. Part of the reason he's good at building cars is because he's got like a pipeline. So because he's constantly trading with other guys that trade and do stuff. So if he doesn't have it, he'd probably help you find it.
I like the nice shop. Yeah, I built it this way so I didn't have to be in the house.
Yeah, he keeps kicking my cars out of there. The
Well,
Belvedere was there, what, about 6 months longer than it should have been?
well, and the problem is that that gray duster's been sitting on my hoist in here for 3 years.
Yeah.
So it was time to get back to it. Now that it's back down and I'm doing the cage and everything in it now, that I'm just kind of that car ain't coming out of the middle until it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to see that car go down the track. Yeah. Like I said, we're gonna have a pretty good crew. Whether
Well,
you know.
you've seen a picture of it going down the track. You've used it on your videos.
Well,
It does
yeah,
big old wheelies.
but you said you made it not do those wheelies anymore.
Yeah, well, we've done a few other things to the car, so I don't know what it's going to do until we take it out again.
Yeah.
So I might have to build some wheelie bars for it.
Mm. Yeah. Hey, Chris Testa, I'm about to kick my wife out of the garage, so I'll have my own really nice shop here at the house where the only
Yeah.
thing it'll be my race cars.
Ha ha. Yeah, right. You better hope she don't see this video.
She's at work. She can't watch it right now. I'm kicking her shoe closet out of my garage. Mater, he's here in Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul area. So, where are you at,
just,
Mater?
just far enough away from Mark to where he's got to drive a half hour to get to me.
Well, I go down about every 3 months down to Southern Illinois, down by Mount Vernon to see my mom. So, like, uh, it's like down by like Paducah, Kentucky, and Mount Vernon, and so. Oh, he's Dallas Fort Worth. Yeah, that'd be a ship thing probably.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have any problem shipping. I mean, I sell stuff on Facebook and stuff, and I've shipped out to people.
Yeah.
Just do a PayPal with you or something and be done with it.
Speed Demon was asking if the QA1 makes a real difference instead of a factory K member. Is it worth the swap?
No. The only reason why I did it is I got two QA1 cross members. I had a guy had one for sale, and it was one with all the mounts and everything on it, and he was selling it super cheap, and I wanted it for the Valiant, so I got it. I got it in the Valiant. But when I was when I was talking to him on the phone, and he lived a little ways away, he had this one sitting there, and this was out of a race car with the mounts already cut off of it. So he's like, well, give me $100 for that one. So, I mean, I got two QA1 cross members, and the one with the mounts that's in the Valiant was brand new, still in the box. I got both of them for $300. So I think the new ones are like $4 something.
Oh,
so
they've gone up.
Buying? No.
Because I was looking at just getting the adjustable dynamic strut rods, and they're over 200 and some bucks now. Yeah, Rooster. I was going to answer Rooster. Yeah, Rock Falls and Tri-State are two tracks that we definitely want to go to. We'd like to coordinate with like Jerry Racing and maybe even the BTP guys to meet up. They usually go to Tri-State.
So on the QA1s, weight-wise, the QA1 I think is actually heavier than the factory K member. So now, does it give you a lot of room? Absolutely. Nothing hits on it. There's tons of space in there to get your hands up to work on stuff. Would I have changed it and bought one? No. The only reason why this car's got one in it, I mean, it's got QA1 everything else. I just swapped out the K member just this time around, but it already had QA1 suspension in the car already with the strut rods and everything. So since I had the cross member and I got it cheap enough, I'm like, I saved it for this car to stick in here. Are you saving weight? No. Is it stronger? Probably. I mean, it's all tubular and stuff, so it's probably stronger than a regular K member.
Have you ever seen those Gerst? The Gerst front suspension conversion?
Well, yeah, that's all the stuff that you got to weld in, though.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you go with because that's got coilovers and stuff with it.
Terry
I won't do
Barker.
any of that stuff. That shit's too expensive. It's like $5,000 for that front suspension setup.
Yeah, it's spendy.
And what are you gaining off of it?
Yeah. Terry Barker is building a 64 Valiant wagon.
Nice.
I'm really starting to like the early Bs.
I would love to do a wagon. I think it'd be sweet.
Well, the guy that I bought the 440 that is going to be the blower engine in the 63, he had like a 62 or 63 Valiant wagon. It was green and it looked like it was a gasser, but it wasn't. But the front end was up and it had slicks in the back that were sticking out of the fender wells a little bit. And it was green. It was called Cream Soda was the name of the car. And it used to run 12 flats. It was a sweet car.
Izzy said he's got a front end out of a 74 with disc brakes on it. It's worth a few bucks, especially if the K member is a BAK member.
Mm.
So, I mean, most of the guys up here are getting, you know, $150 per side for the spindle setups for the disc brakes. So you get $300 for the spindle setups. I don't spend that much. I just go to the junkyard and buy the spindles and the brake setups out of a Diplomat or a Cordoba. They work just fine.
And Raker, my 63 has the factory K-frame, but the guy that Tom got it from had already made it into a race car, so he had shaved off the engine mounts and he notched it with a big square opening on the bottom. So I don't know if he was going to run a Hemi or something in it or the bigger race pan. And that car has like factory Dodge type disc brakes that were already on it too. So it already had a disc brake conversion. That was one of the reasons that drew me to the car because it already had like the 11-inch drums in the back. It had the disc brakes in the front and had the subframe connectors already welded in, and the guy had rolled the fender lips. So the rear fender or the rear quarter wheel opening.
I'm not quick enough to read everybody's stuff, so I'm reading backwards here.
Oh, that's fine.
So don't get me wrong. If I missed your question or something, just ask it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a big to-do back when Cap Auto, I think, didn't QA1 buy them out for their design of the front K suspension?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you can still buy this stuff, but like I said, if it wasn't cheap, because before the pandemic, all this crap was cheap. I mean, I could buy, I could buy most of the QA1 stuff off, eBay reasonably cheap. But now, I mean, I used to buy the upper
Control arm.
The upper control arms and stuff. They were cheap. A couple $100, you had both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was replacing a lot of them, and then I'd buy the lower ones pretty cheap too. Now they're like double the price, so it's not worth buying it anymore, unless you really want the stuff. I mean, but the factory stuff works. The lower control arms, you just brace them and stiffen them up, and then you squeeze them a little bit so they tighten up. Before you weld them, and they work just fine. That's why the kid's car, when we built his Duster, that's got all factory stuff in it except for the big sway bar we put in. but it's all beefed up, all the little tricks that you can do.
And you notch your K-frames for the big blocks.
Yeah, I mean, I do all that, and then you re-weld them up so they're stronger than they were before.
Mm.
So, are you on your laptop or have a cell hand?
I've got my iPad next to me, but I don't have a computer.
If you're gonna send them them pictures, I'll just forward them. Because I got them from you. I'll just forward them to them when we're done.
Mm. Yeah, Terry Barker said they're doing a 5.7 Hemi in the car, and man, just Cuda Dan and them, they're building all those high-end Barracudas and putting those 6.4s in there, and all they do is do away with the where the shuts off the cylinders and put a different and it's not even a radical cam, just a different cam in it. Those things are 650 horse all day long, idle in traffic.
Well,
Yeah,
that's a good deal. $250.
yeah.
So, yeah, if anybody's looking for a set of 1.18 torsion bars for an A body, I got a set that I'll sell.
Mm.
Should have grabbed my glasses when I was in. I'd look like an idiot on here with my glasses on, but at least I could read this stuff.
Yeah, I like watching all the stuff on my TV too, Dizzy.
Yeah. Hey, your cars always look better on a 60-inch TV.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, that's why I always joke. Most of my videos, if you guys are like, wow, there's not much content there. It's like main reason I make videos is because winters are long here in Minnesota, and I just sit there and like look at pictures of my own cars on my TV. I probably am responsible for half the views on half my videos. So
Hey, Dizzy, if you like that, go back and Mark's videos about 6-8 back. When I'm passing his car down the racetrack, that'll be cool on the TV to watch.
that's a sad video.
With Pink's All Out song going.
You know how hard that was to do too? I timed it just right. Right when your car starts to pass me, the music kicks in. Walk away. I kind of miss Pink's. It was cheesy, but it had some good stuff going for it. It kind of got the drag racing thing going there for a while.
Hey, I'd have built a car to run that if they would had it local up here.
So Raker's saying if you put the 67 K frame in the early B bodies, it moves the engine back. So I wonder if your dad's 62, if that's what they did to put the 440 in. Do you think they put a different K member in it?
They probably did, because that's sitting on the regular motor mounts.
Yeah.
So, but
so that's probably how they.
But the difference is the transmission mount.
Yeah.
The transmission mount is in the wrong place, so you gotta kind of make your own, is what it kind of looks like. So I mean, we got it figured out, but it's just it's taking a little longer because my shop where the car is at, I don't have all my stuff down there, and so I figure it all out down there, and then bring it home and do all my stuff here, and then bring it back down.
And that's the cool thing.
Hiking my welders and stuff down.
And it's cool that your dad has that 62 right there in the same shop that the Belvedere's here now. So, you can look at that and kind of see, because that's how we knew that engine was sitting way too forward in the 63.
Mark has video skills. Yeah.
I'd like to see what I could do with a computer program.
Well, I should just give you my stuff that I got in my phone that I haven't put on my channel yet, so you can finish it for me, and I can put it on.
I would like to edit videos. I like to edit and shoot footage more than I like being on camera. So,
well, like I said, I got all that video of that blue car running down the racetrack, but I just haven't finished putting it all together because I don't have a beginning and I don't have an end.
Yeah, Rooster, I saw that pop up on my phone, but I'm afraid to look at the pictures on my phone. because then I'll lose
Yeah,
the feed.
I was gonna say, let's not do that. We tried that one time when I tried to call you, and you got kicked out or everything.
I'm not like it's funny. I like video editing, but I can't figure out computers and phones. So
Yeah, see, Raker said the same thing. He had to modify the 62 trans cross member. And
yeah,
that's what we figured out. That's what I was doing just before we got on this live is I got his cut apart and starting to weld it back together.
after yeah. Yeah, Dizzy, it's cool to have the build sheets. My Belvedere was a factory white, blue interior, 273 automatic car. I've got the original door cards. They're pretty shot, and that's why some of my interior trim pieces are blue.
Here's a fun fact for you. Almost every Duster I've ever owned was green.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what the deal is, but every Duster, and I've owned a lot of Dusters over the years. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they were never green when I owned them,
Mhm.
but they all started out factory green.
Well, that was always the joke in like the '80s when we'd buy cars. There was only certain colors you could paint a car that had green interior. That was the
Hey,
telltale sign.
Tim H. Up until lately, I don't edit anything. I do a once walk around, do your thing, do a one take shot, and send it out.
Mm.
So that's the easiest way to do it. People either like it or they don't. It's, I just do it raw. And I mean, if you look at some of my videos back past maybe 3 or 4 back, they're just one take shots, and I haven't been on camera more than this is like the third time.
And then,
So,
Tim, are you using a camera or are you using your phone? And if so, what
phone.
what what phone? Yeah, Testa was saying everything was green back in the day.
I'm telling you, I don't. It's just crazy. Every car I get, I start tearing them apart, and I get under the dash, and the goddamn car's green. I'm like, shit. I just can't get lucky and get a different colored car. I
Mm.
mean, the only one that wasn't green was the blue car that I got. That was a 344 speed car, and that
Yeah.
car was white originally.
And your Valiant's green, and it's
My
still green.
Valiant's green, and that one's still green. Yeah,
Chris Testa's Chevelle came with factory blue interior.
I've had cars with blue interior before, or
Mm.
blue. Yeah, a
Yeah,
nice
Tim. Once you
rattle.
once you get the GoPro, things get a little bit harder because then you got like the whole SIM card, or you gotta hook it up to a computer that's got like the video
or
editing software.
or they just shut off randomly on you.
I had the app, and I noticed that I used to be able to do the GoPro app where I could turn on my phone, turn on my camera, turn it off, and then I could actually like while the SIM card's still in the GoPro, I just linked it to my phone, and I could trim down a clip, and then just download the clip from the SIM card that I carved out onto my phone. So I have used it that way, but last time I tried to use the app, they've got it where you have to pay for everything. So I wasn't able to edit a clip in there.
Hey, and Rooster, I know the one you got for me was yellow, but I said the one I build, the cars I build and keep. That car wasn't going to stay yellow either. I was going to paint that car green.
Yeah. Because I know iMovie on iPhones are pretty easy once you learn how to kind of. The first thing I learned was how to like clip video down and then not lose it, and then just string together the small pieces that I wanted and cut out the stuff that I didn't want, and then I kind of started learning how to like I can split the soundtrack from the pictures, and I can't put like plugins. I see guys that like. Do really cool stuff with graphics and plugins that I'd like to learn how to do, but I just don't have that ability on an iPhone. So
Shoot, sometimes I'm lucky just to be able to put a video up.
Chris, I thought the Firebird had white interior, but it was just dirty and looked beige.
Rooster, that blue is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can thank Joe for that one. That him and that trunklet is the reason why I picked that blue.
Yeah. No, that's a bright blue. That's brighter than the Jack Pine.
Well, and we did a black base on that, so the sealer on that car is black. So it changed the blue just a little bit, but it did exactly what I wanted it to do. It darkened it up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I know nobody else's car is going to be that color unless they use the black base on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was funny because Tom was regretting not coming out to your shop and seeing your toys.
Hey, he's more than welcome anytime.
Yeah. He's such a cool guy.
Oh. Surprised Rooster's up this late. Isn't it past your bedtime?
Yeah, a lot of people probably work Monday morning. I work Monday, but not till 7 p.m. So
I figure I'd give you 2 hours here because you're about an hour and 15 minutes now.
Yeah, I didn't plan on staying on here 3 hours like I did with Chris Testa. That guy
I still got
too much.
I got some welding to do before I go in the house, so it's like I'd like to get that mount finished up.
Yeah, and then you got to hang out a while afterwards.
So
yeah.
Bought a quart of the factory blue. Oh yeah, yeah. See, the paint we found is a lot cheaper than the other stuff, and my body guy loves it. He's like, dude, that stuff painted so nice.
Mm.
So saying I don't have it out here, otherwise I'd show you a can of it. But if you go back on Mopar or just Mopar Joe's deal, he's the one that he painted a trunklet. And I'm thinking it was probably 2 years ago, year and a half ago, something like that. And he showed the paint, and they still sell it, and it's still cheap as shit. You can buy a whole kit for it's a gallon of everything. And I usually buy 2 kits. So 2 kits worth is more than enough to paint a car. You got tons left extra, but we're putting 6-8 coats of paint on there. It's like $600. You can't even buy spendy stuff for that. I mean, a gallon of paint's almost $1,000 nowadays.
Yeah, and that's the same brand we're going to use, right? You used it on Tyler's car too.
Yep. So. Nope, it worked out good, so we're going to keep on using it. We'll see what they look like, 10 years down the road. But, I mean, these cars don't sit outside. They're not, in the weather. So, I mean, they if you can, that's what a lot of people say is if you use a cheaper paint, they're not as durable. Well, yeah. I'm building race cars with the paint and, cars that you're going to car shows with and they're babied. They're sitting in a garage in a heated garage under a blanket all the time, So, I mean, why do you got to go spend, $10,000 to paint a car? I mean, it's crazy.
And I'm not building a car for some other guy. I'm building a car for me. And,
even the one
what happens to it after that's the other guy's problem.
But I'm just saying, I was like, you just got to look at it that way. I mean, a lot of these guys, oh my God, I got to have PPG paint. I got to have the super expensive stuff. And it's like, why? Yeah. This ain't a daily driver car. I mean, the car is, baby, it's life after that, and it's never going to be in the salt. So, I mean, and when it's out in the sun, it's only in the sun, to go to a car show, to drive home, maybe go out to the racetrack. On the way to the racetrack, that's it. Otherwise, it's sitting in a garage covered up.
Yeah, the Belvedere doesn't even have holes for windshield wipers anymore. So it's not going to be. It's going to be a fair weather car. Terry Barker said he paints.
You got to do what we used to do when we were younger. Stop at a gas station, grab a squeegee, and leave.
Yeah.
Then you drive down the road with your hand out the window and you squeegee off your windshield while it's raining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or lots of Rain-X.
I bought an air dryer system, and I've always wanted to paint. I just don't want to paint my own cars. I want them to look nice.
Hey, I'm the same way. I was like, I'm sure I could paint, but that's a nasty job.
I joked
I
around
was
with my
like,
nephew. I
I
joked around
give
with my
it to.
nephew that I
I was
told my
like, I was
nephew
gonna
I'd
say, I give it to all them body guys, dude. You guys got a nasty, dirty job.
yeah. I was teasing my nephew. I'd paint his car. It's a third gen Camaro. So
Well, it's a Chevy. You can paint that.
it's a third gen Camaro. Nobody gives a shit. Uh,
Well,
Chris
if you use
Testa used.
PPG, you definitely spent a few bucks because
Yeah.
I know that stuff's really went up in price. Like my body guy used to buy a gallon of paint for like we'll say $400 or $500. It's doubled in price.
Yeah, in Texas, no windshield wipers required.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, it don't rain there.
Chris's Firebird's sweet. It looks good. And that's a Toyota Brown. It's got a nice metallic in it, so in the sun it pops really good. I used to say I would never own a brown or a green car, but I've gotten to where I actually kind of like certain greens and I like brown.
Well, a root beer brown is pretty nice.
Yeah, yeah. That's what his
So,
is. It's kind of a root beer brown metallic.
oh, the only color I'm not a big fan of is red. So I mean, I try not to buy red cars.
I had a red 70 GTO with whale tail, and if you're gonna have a whale tail on your car, red's okay. But um, yeah, I it's got to be a certain car for it to be red. It's got to be a really in your face car, and I wanted to paint the inside of my engine bay. Kind of like
Yeah,
a candy brandy wine boat metallic. That Chris Testa likes that idea, Jeff.
I think it's retarded. Mopars are supposed the outside of the car is supposed to match the engine bay.
It's not a Mopar. It's a hot rod. It's a custom
It's
car.
still a Mopar.
Yeah, but that way when
I
you're
mean, it's
driving
your
around,
car. You can do
when you're
whatever the
dri-
hell you want, but it's your car.
when you're driving around with the hood off, it's like a jewel case. The engine with the blower and the polished parts and the headers going through the fender wells, and then there's not going to be much inner fenders left to be painted anyway. So
Yeah, well, if you're gonna do that, we can put some, neon lights in there for you, and a fucking disco ball hanging off the blower or something too.
and a hook on the roll bar to hang my purse.
Might as well. And what do you mean? You're gonna be sitting in the passenger seat because your old lady's gonna be driving.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris isn't a fan of red cars either. So
Well, you never know, Rooster. Someday, if my paint guy doesn't come through the way he has, you might get one of my cars. The problem with paint guys don't, and I'm gonna shoot this right at Rooster anyways. Problem with paint guys is like the engine builder guys. You give them a car or a motor, and they tell you a month, and you might get it back next year.
hey, thanks for stopping in, Mater's Workshop. I really appreciate it. Have a good night, man. But yeah, that's like I said. My engine's been in kind of engine builder hell for over a year. So, and I was teasing Jeff today. I'm like, everyone's going to be done with everything all at once. You know, the
I'll
car will,
make sure it happens.
the car will be ready to go to paint, and I'll owe Jeff for what he's done to the car so far, and then Gary's going to have my engine done, and all the bills have come at right at that one day, and I'll be like,
Always
yay!
happens.
Yeah, bass boat metallic, man. That's
That's what's. Well, no, then we might as well pinstripe the shit out of it too if you do that metallic on it.
Well, you remember that Comet gasser at Street Machine Nationals? What's it called? Laughing Gas.
No.
That's like just so show car. It's all
Well, but
big
that's
boat
what they did
metallic.
back then, is they,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
even got
or,
like the metallic seats. Like it's like the vinyl that like you used to have on your bicycle seats with the
yep.
metallic and the
But I
vinyl
said that's the way they used to do it back then.
diamond. Yeah, that's
Exactly. Booked out 2 years.
yeah.
But I let Mark in early. I was booked out that long too, but I just squeezed him in.
But he hasn't asked about the car or anything, right?
No, he's fine.
Yeah.
Well, he was making room for it, so I mean, he's still got. I got a 40 O's sitting out there getting ready or needing to get done at some point. So that one got kind of put on the back burner to squeeze Mark's car in.
Yeah.
So how many people you still got in here?
I think we peaked at about like 16, but now we're down to 11. Now back up to 14.
I feel special. 16 people wanted to actually listen to me babble.
Well, they always say that with live streams, at about every hour mark, you wind up almost kind of changing over the group of people. And that's kind of true. Except Sunday night, I think, is kind of a rough night anyway, to go late. I'm probably one of the few people that doesn't work your typical, got your weekends off and, go back to work on Mondays. And even then, I'm an overnight guy, so I'm usually awake all night anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now we just got to get some cars done here, middle of winter.
But hopefully with like a little bit of footage, be able to show people where we're at when we get the engine all mocked up in there and everything. And then the car will be gone and I won't be having any car videos until it's time to go racing.
Oh, yeah. If you got them outside, you're definitely not working on them.
Yeah.
My problem is I got them all inside and they all stare at me all the time going, when's my turn?
And I don't have a heated garage either. And in Minnesota, it gets pretty cold. My third stall is not even insulated. So, I mean, I'm out of the snow, but then I've got two women living with me that are allergic to scraping windows. So my garage is completely filled with cars, daily driver stuff.
True,
Yeah,
Rooster.
Rooster.
I agree.
I feel the same way. I feel like my channel is just the right size. I feel
Well,
like I've got maybe 40 true subscribers. I mean, it says that I got like 1,000, but most of them
the
probably
problem
forgot they subscribed to me.
the problem that I've seen so far on these live streams is just trying to keep up. I mean, with trying to read stuff. And if you
Yeah,
got a lot of people in here, you miss a bunch of them. And I know how I am when I'm, on somebody else's live stream and I ask a question and they don't answer it.
yeah, it
I've been
gets
on
frustrating.
I've been on Uncle Tony's a couple times, and the only reason why he answered my questions is because I was asking him nitro questions.
Mm,
Because we run nitro in the car sometimes,
mm.
and then all of a sudden he popped on and started talking and answering the questions. But if you ask him other shit, there's just so many people asking that you just kind of blend in with everything. That's why I kind of mentioned, I was like, I'm reading kind of slow here because I don't have my glasses on. But
Yeah.
if you got a question that you want me to answer, just ask it again.
I like having another person on here too because sometimes when there's like a lull, you just have like a natural conversation going, and then you know, because when I'm on here by myself, it's cool and I enjoy like reading the comments and that, but I think it's a little bit more fun, like to go back and like if you didn't get a chance to see a live stream, if you go to one like where they're doing like StreamYard and there's a group of guys on there talking, because then it's more natural. You like understand the progression of the conversation. You're not just randomly jumping from topic to topic.
Oh, I'm telling you, I've seen the Uncle Tony's. That's crazy how many people he's got on there asking. And most of the questions, there's a lot of dumbass questions too. So
Well, I'm
So,
sure you get tired of the same questions all the time too, like,
oh yeah,
like whenever they do those, No Name National, tech, uh, video, like, live streams before the No Name Nationals, every guy asks the same questions about fuel lines and seat belts.
oh yeah. But there's a lot of guys that don't know that stuff. Trust me. I
Yeah.
mean,
And
years of drag
they weren't
racing.
there the year before, so they don't know, and it's like when you go on, Facebook and you post a picture of your car and you get 50 guys asking you what your tire and wheel combination is.
Yeah. But it's the same thing with the drag racing. I mean, I've been doing this, since I was a kid. So,
Mm,
40 years. Well, not quite that. I'm not quite that old. 35 years. You know, you know what you have to have because you're replacing the stuff every couple years. You know what you go through tech, thousands of times, so you know what they look for. So you just know what you have to have every time. Well, I mean, guys that only went once or twice, I mean, they just don't know. I mean, I get them asking the questions a lot, but you know, as long as it ain't the same person asking it multiple times, unless they didn't get answered.
my tech at Oak Grove was, "Oh, you're here with Jeff? Check."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Didn't even look at the car. He's like, "Oh, well, you're here with Jeff. Check."
yeah, Grove Creek's pretty good about that. They've tech. I mean, we used to tech cars there and help them out.
Oh,
When
yeah.
they were short. I mean, it's you know they're bad enough to where if you're kind of cheap that year and you're only going out once, you just
Mhm.
don't replace the seatbelts because they don't look at them. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, I mean, I did that on my dragster because I mean um, we were just out testing it at the end of the year with the new motor or with the fresh motor in it. So it's like I knew they weren't going to tech the thing. So it's like, why would I go spend $100 on a set of seatbelts to go out to the track once?
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, plus, you look at the jack pine, you figure it's probably, got the right stuff in it. It's not like it was just some thing off the road.
But it didn't. You had some busted up fucking overflow bottle on there the first time down. And,
A
it's
plastic
better
water bottle.
now because I went through it.
Yeah. Well, that sucks
It's
when I
coming
was
around.
the one time when I was at Brainerd, I had rubber valve stems on the front wheels and they busted me for that. And I laughed because there was a shop right across the street from the drag strip at Brainerd that was open and he had valve stems. And I went over there and he started changing mine. And then two other guys showed up right behind me because the tech guy got them too. So I had to laugh. I'm like, the guy doing tech has a racket going with the guy at the shop across the street. He's like, I'm
Well,
going to get all these guys for this. So make sure you have these on hand.
the sad part is that's probably all he caught on everybody. He probably missed
Yeah, it's
other stuff because for
like
some
50
reason
bucks a pop.
he woke up that morning going, "I'm going to nail everybody for rubber valve stems."
Yeah. Yeah.
But is it a rule? Absolutely. You're supposed to have
And
metal
it makes
valve stems in
sense.
your
And
car.
it makes sense and it's a safety thing. So I'm glad it's done. But when you're wanting to run your car and it's like 15 minutes before they open the lanes, you're like, ah,
Yeah. No, it sucks. Trust me. I've never been through it because I mean I'm a metal valve stem guy anyways. I don't like having the rubber valve stems in any of my stuff.
mm,
But the rear slicks, if you run tubes in them, you got to get the good tubes with the metal valve stems. So
well, and that's the thing about the Belvedere too. If I'm going to be running that on the street, I'm going to want to get tubes in those wheels. And if you're going to do tubes, you might as well do the
well, you're not going to run with
screws.
the slicks on there, are you?
What's that on the street?
Yeah,
A little bit. I
a
mean,
little bit. Well, I mean you can, but them slicks you got, them Hoosiers, them are you can run them without the tubes in them.
yeah,
So, I mean, they're still holding air now. I mean, that's crazy. Normally, a slick with no tubes in them, they go down after a couple weeks.
yeah.
Them ones are still holding air at the same pressure that I put them,
Mhm.
4 months ago.
I just don't like the idea of paying $525 a piece for those M&H drag radials.
They are nice though when you get them.
Yeah,
Just got to work some overtime again.
yeah.
Work through the holidays. Don't you get more money on the holidays?
Yeah, but we're done with holidays for a while.
Well, I told
Easter's
you,
coming up.
I'll buy them Hoosiers from you as soon as you buy your other ones. We'll just make sure you buy them before they're used, and then I
Yeah.
buy them at a used price, right?
No. No.
Well, they're already mounted; they're used.
Nobody back once they're mounted.
Yeah, you can't send them back. Well,
Tim said he used to run a 429 Ford that broke every weekend. I had an uncle that had a Mach 1 that he bought with I think it had, well, that was a 428 Cobra Jet, and he kept having trouble with the heads warping and stuff on them. I don't know.
I used to have a friend that had a uh, class race Fairlane with a 429 in it.
Mhm.
So he had good luck with it. The car was fast, but I mean, it's like every race car. I don't give a shit what brand it is. They all break at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Just depends on
Gary,
how hard you pound them.
Gary just built a 427 Ford. I think it made like 550 horsepower.
Yes, rub dish soap inside your slicks. My
Mhm.
dragster don't have tubes in it, and they're bead locked and everything. But Dawn dish soap, rub the shit out of it inside that thing. What's funny is the guys that do it, because if you walk by them while they're checking the air in their tires, you can smell the dish soap. But yes, it slows them down from leaking. They still leak down, they just don't leak as fast. So my dragster usually, I mean, that thing's, where we're running it, you're running at 5-6 pounds air pressure.
Mhm.
So we always put air back in them when we load it in the trailer for transport. But
Mhm.
even if you put 15 pounds in them, it takes about 3 weeks and they'll be back down low. So, but it takes a lot longer. If you don't do the dish soap thing, it'll be down in a couple days.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, I don't run tubes in any of my stuff. I shouldn't say any. The Aspen's got tubes in it right now, but just because they haven't been apart, so I didn't take them out yet.
Mhm.
But no, we don't run tubes in anything. Get rid of that rotating weight. Plus, you guys that do run tubes know what it's like to break a valve stem or spin the tire a little bit, or get a leak.
Mhm.
It kind of sucks. You don't have the tube in there, you don't have that problem.
Yeah. Chris Testa was giving me crap about the blue lines on my slicks on the jack pine. And I told him it was only when I drop the air pressure down around 10 that it rubs. And then it doesn't rub very long because then they get real skinny.
Yeah, down track. They probably only rub for about the first 60 feet or something when they're squished down. You don't want them rubbing at all. That's why we fixed that car to begin with. When you had it at Brainerd, they were rubbing on the front. So we moved that rear end back that little bit.
Yeah, that was cutting a groove in the tread. So that had to be fixed. That was not good. Yeah, Tim said he had big motors and a lot of stuff, but kept breaking drivetrain.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah,
find
high school.
you find the weak spot.
Mhm.
So I've been pretty lucky with most of my stuff. We don't break a whole lot of stuff anymore, but I mean, it's just years of driving them and beating the hell out of them. And you find out what breaks. So you just don't cheap out and buy the cheap shit on the stuff that breaks all the time. And
In
then
high
don't get me
school,
wrong, you find something else that breaks.
he was talking about like back in high school and stuff. We used to race on Blacktop Road, called Cemetery Road. From the cemetery down to a tree was almost exactly a quarter mile. And then when the racetrack Thunder Valley would have high school drag, it seems like my car was always broke whenever they had high school drags, so I never was able to take a car there. But that's funny too, is a guy will like drive his car and race it on the street, and then he takes it to the track and it hooks hard on a prepped surface once.
It breaks. Oh
And
yeah.
it breaks right
You
there.
find out your U joints and your drive shaft are crap.
Yeah. We still got that Mickey Mouse U joint in the jack pine. It's held for
Yes.
2 years.
You, you need to get a drive shaft for that thing and get rid of that big old heavy thing.
Yeah.
Someday.
Chris. Yeah, whenever I get $300 for a drive shaft, Jeff says I need to give him $300 for the other car.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, never said drag racing's cheap.
no.
But if I'm a betting man, that's probably your weak link in that car is that drag
Yeah.
shaft and the joint.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's held up pretty good so far. But if it goes, that's what's going to go.
Mm-hmm. No, that car, it works. It does pretty good. I think just a little bit of tweaking. I think it's a 6.7 car for sure.
Well,
Just got to get.
I think that's there all day. We just gotta, get the driver up to spec.
Yeah. For some reason at Rock Falls, I was doing pretty good on the tree. I kind of got it pegged there, but then it was like how many months before I finally got to go? Well, like at least a month before I went to Sykeston.
I was just glad the car went to No Name Nationals and didn't have any problems while it was down there.
Yeah, it was exciting when the oil pressure gauge broke on shot oil all over the floor.
Yeah, but that's nothing. That's easy to fix. I'm
Yeah,
talking no
but
major shit.
it happened at the end of the track. So all of a sudden I thought I blew my engine. It was in the bracket race. I was racing Mongrel's Garage, and the prep was pretty bad at the track that day. And so Friday I ran like a 7.1, a 7.0, and another 7.1. So I dialed in at a 7.0, and of course in that race I beat him, but I wound up running like a 690 flat. So I broke out.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Yeah, you're fast, but did you blow it up?" Because white smoke poured out behind the car after I passed him, and that's because the oil got onto the headers, so
Yeah.
it looked like it smoked at the end of the track. Chris
That's
sent me
a
a
question.
Chris sent me a picture of a Pontiac.
Oh. Here, you got pictures. I don't know if it'll show up on here, but you guys want to see a picture of my dragster pulling a fucking wheelie with the front wheels higher than the wing?
Yeah.
See if it'll
Hey,
show
Tim.
up.
Tim 72 Demon, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I love the sound of that Ultradyne cam. It sounds like a monster. I was hitting 100 miles an hour at the end of the track each time I ran on Saturday. I feel bad because like Brad's beep beep is fast. He was running at least a tenth faster than me. But that race that we ran, I mean, our 60-foot was the same, our mile per hour was the same. Just he beat me from what he got me on the line. I think anytime we race, he's got like a 2/3 chance of beating me. But I'd like to race him again. I like racing him and Brewer's Performance when they were there because they were right in that. We're all in that same range. It was like T's Good Time Garage. He was running 680s, so we were neck and neck. He beat me the once, and I beat him the next time. So we laughed that we never got our rubber match. We never got the third race, but it's so much fun racing cars that are the same speed.
No,
because then
it's funner when you're faster and you walk away.
Hey, it's not fun for the guy that's watching the blue duster go away. And the funny thing is, no, you beat me to the 8th mile too, but I was like, but then the second time I treed the shit out of you.
And walked away anyways.
So I knew you were going to stay in it till the end of the quarter to
Well,
try
that's
to
why I
get me.
didn't have the hood on, and I had your crappy little air cleaner that was taking a cylinder away from me.
Yeah, that was a fun day. Yeah.
Anyways, see if this shows up. You've seen this picture. It's a horrible picture, but I was racing in Gimli, Canada. I used to race with a group called the Midwest Wild Bunch. We used to get paid to go to racetracks and put on shows. But this was before I built a set of wheelie bars for my car because it used to come out of the hole and it would pull. And this is my dragster. It picked the front end up maybe 2 feet, carry it about 100 foot, and set it down. But it was fun. They put on a good show that everybody liked watching it and everything. But then it went a little crazy one time, and I put the front end higher than the wing, and that thing's got a 7-foot wing on it. So I mean, it was ready to blow over, but I caught it just in time and brought it down. But here's a picture of it because we had to take a picture off the video. I don't know if this will show up very good.
Yeah, you can make it out the front of the
But
duster.
Dizzy will like it on his big TV.
Mm.
So.
Yeah, usually you don't see those dragsters wheeling down the track.
Well, they're not supposed to. Trust me, we left there and I went right home and we built a big single mono wheelie bar for it. Now it's got a big old wheelie bar. Now it sits on the wheelie bar for about 200 foot.
Yeah.
When that thing comes out of the hole, about 200 feet out, it's still on the wheelie bar. You know, so front end's off the ground. I mean, it's an interesting ride. But see, that's a triple slip joint hardtail car. So I mean, the only thing we can do to calm it down is put more weight in the nose. But I mean, the thing's already got 30 pounds of lead in the nose. Yeah. So it's like, you know, how much more do you want to, you know, and I like it wheeling. It makes it fun.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, someday I'll do a wheelie.
Hey, we'll talk to you later, Rooster. I'm sure I'll talk to you, you know, soon.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely talk for sure getting to the track, Rooster.
I had nothing but troubles. Hot wire broke off, key switch thrown. Dude, wiring's a pain in the ass. That's why most cars that I do, I gut it. I don't care. I gut everything. Unless it's like my kid's car because that's a street car. You know, that's still got the heater box in it, everything in it. So that's got factory wiring in it. But I mean, we take it all out and we go through everything, put different fuse boxes in it and stuff. But I mean, all the other cars, even if I drive them on the street, because I don't care to have all that funky stuff in there. Mm-hmm. I got them and just rewire them completely with all new stuff. Otherwise, it's such a pain in the ass. I mean, trying to track down a wire harness that's got 400 breaks in it that people have been in there, you know, cutting into.
Yeah. Chris was asking if it bent your dragster when you wheelie.
It did not. I caught it. I've been driving for many years, so I mean, I've had a lot of weird stuff happen. So when the car came up, you know, when it was, I mean, that thing was wheeling 400 foot down the track. So, I mean, when it came up, it was just like normal. But then where it normally stopped, it didn't stop this time and it just kept going. Well, I mean, I'm thinking, she's going to come down. She's going to come down. And it kept going. Well, once it got up high enough to where I can't see the racetrack anymore, it was too high. So, well, by that time, it really went up hard. Well, what I did is I stayed on the throttle and I jacked the brakes. So what it did is it made it come down, but it didn't slam down because I was still under full power. So the only thing it did to the car was I had an offset, or I had the straight front suspension on the car. If you know dragsters, they're just a 3-bar, you know, solid. There is no suspension up there. Well, it bent them. The only good thing is I had my offsets in the trailer. So we finished racing that whole weekend. I just switched the front end, realigned it, and went out. The only thing we did to the car is we took a bunch of power out of the car so it didn't wheelie anymore. So, but my old man was scared to death. I mean, the first time we went down after we got the car back together after that wheelie, it was like an hour later. We brought it up there. Nobody in my group would race me. They sent me down as a single. And the old man come up on the starting line just before I did the burnout, backed up. He come up and he stuck his head in. And he goes, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Yep, we got to send her. Let's see what happens." And I sent it, and it went 680s, 190 some miles an hour right after it wheelied like that. No problems. I mean, it drove nice and straight. And then, of course, we got it home and went through every weld on the car to make sure it didn't break anything. But no, everything was good. It's just that front suspension. I had to switch them, so I still run the staggered now. We never replaced the other ones.
Yeah, Tim.
Question, anyways.
Tim was talking about if he brings his duster, it might just be in primer. Jeff's been teasing me that if he had my car, he would leave it in primer.
God, yeah, I would sand that thing down with a scuff pad and let her rip just the way it is.
I think it looks pretty cool the way it is with a lot of the factory white still showing and a little bit of surface rust. Just make the engine all nice and shiny and make it run fast. But
You want a pretty car. You want a I'm going to keep this car forever car. I get it.
yeah,
You got to have one of them.
I'm a pretty boy.
Well,
I
that's
like
a
my
matter of
stuff shiny.
opinion, but
But yeah, I one of my favorite TV shows, and it's cheesy now to watch it, was that movie Hot Rod, where the guy had the willies,
Oh
and that
yeah,
was in
I love that show.
Primer. Yeah, that was in Primer.
I'll
So
take
that
his
was kind of
Hemi.
that was a cool Primer car out of a AMC Matador.
Yeah, I would take this Hemi, no problem.
Yeah, we're doing my blower like that one, blacked out with the shiny ribs. The ribs of the blower will be polished, but the rest of the blower will be black. Trying to go back through some of the comments here.
I know I'm kind of trying to read them too. If you guys ever see me looking up, it's because I don't have glasses. I'm looking down my nose trying to read the comments.
Yeah, that's why I have my iPad over off to my side, so it's a little, and actually, it's not much bigger. I wish I was a way to like make the screen smaller on my iPad so I could just see all the comments over there.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get older. Your eyes start going to shit.
Yeah, that's like you said, get the rest of the car clean and primer's fine. I love demons, man. Those are cool looking cars.
I've had one.
So I got a
I think
question. I mean, other than the taillight panel, if you just took the front clip off of like a 72 Dart Swinger and put it on a
Yep,
Duster, that's
yep,
exactly
the
that's
same
all it
thing.
is. Yeah,
Demon doors fit over. I mean, it all it is the taillight panel and the front clip of the car.
yeah.
So
Because I
yes, you could
always
take the
thought about
Dart
that.
stuff off and switch to a Duster.
Because if I was ever to get a Duster, I'd be tempted to do that. You know.
I've thought about it a couple times, but I mean, I don't buy many darts. I'm not a big dart fan.
Yeah,
So,
and
I got
it's
that.
there's not too many of those Dart Swingers around anymore that you could do that. Just grab
I
the
think
front clip.
I think the dart swingers are an ugly car, just like the the Plymouths. They got the Scamp.
Yeah.
Scamps are the same thing. They're an ugly, boxy looking thing. I was like, once the '69 Valiant is about the boxiest car that I would have.
Well,
Otherwise the
yours
Duster's
is
nicer.
what year's your Valiant? It's a 69, isn't it?
69, yeah.
But it's a
I don't
post.
like I don't like the 68s. They got that split grill in them.
Mm.
If they didn't have that split grill, they'd be all right.
But the 68 and 67 darts, they look okay.
It's fine. We talk to each other. More welding. Yeah, no, I need to get off of here and finish that trans cross member shortly here.
Yeah.
So try to get that done so that maybe I can get the car a little farther along here.
Yeah, everybody, we need to end this live stream so Jeff can work on my car while I go to bed. Actually, I'm not going to go to bed. I'll just watch a movie. No,
Yeah, I
no,
can't
it's
think
like,
of much else, but
yeah, no. If you guys watch my channel the last 2 years, you obviously have seen Jeff there. I mean, he's the brains behind the Jack Pine. He's the guy that got the car from running in the 11s into the 10s, and he's the guy that's building my Belvedere for me. So you got to go over and check out MOPARJEFF604's channel, and he's going to put more up there. I keep after him about doing it, so we'll get him
and
putting
then
more videos out. And he's got some cool stuff in the pipeline that he's going to be working on.
And then you
And
guys that want parts and stuff, just like Mark said, just get a hold of him through that, and he'll get you to me. Or go subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and you could leave a comment on there, and we'll just figure it out.
yeah. All right, we'll do this again.
All right, sounds good, Mark.
I
Take
just
care,
want to thank
everybody.
everybody that showed up in the chat. I really appreciate you guys coming out on a Sunday night. And like I said, with my schedule, I can't do these regularly or carve out a specific night to do them. So I'll try to post at least a day or two in advance. But whenever I do that, then I don't feel like doing it on the day that I said I was going to do it. Something happens and I wind up not wanting to do it. So I do better just kind of popping these up there. And
Hey, Raker, I appreciate it. I'll get more videos up at some point.
And the other thing I want to do with this encounters with Bigfoots is have a lot of you guys on here with me, like randomly. I've already had Chris Test on here, but like Rooster, have you on here. Anybody who'd like to be on one of these with me, just give me enough. I don't do StreamYard. This is live stream together, so I can only have one guest at a time. So give me enough advance notice. Like I said, reach out to me on my Facebook page, and so that I can have a way to send you a link, and then we could have conversations with other people on here too. That's what I thought would be fun, and that way, if you have a smaller channel too, even if a bigger channel than me, um, just more exposure. I think you get to see it kind of behind the scenes, get to meet people, and hopefully give them a subscription. All right.
Sounds good. Talk to you later, Mark.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for popping in. I got to figure out how to shut this off.